A hunting horn split the suffocating silence of the whispering woods. Commander Garrick Thorne shoved the bruised Omega toward the black tree line with a cruel smile. "You have 5 minutes," he called. "Run as far as you can. When the horn sounds again, my trackers will enjoy bringing you back." Laughter echoed beneath the dense canopy. No moonlight reached the forest floor. The shadows swallowed the young woman's worn cloak almost immediately. She never begged, she never looked back. She simply stepped into the darkness as though crossing the threshold of an old home. High above the forest, Alpha King Lucian moved silently from branch to branch. The newly awakened mate bond pulled him toward the hunted Omega with undeniable certainty. He had entered the hunt to rescue her before his own royal trackers found her. He was already running out of time. If you find yourself cheering for women who refuse to surrender, no matter how impossible the odds appear, I hope you will stay with this story until the very end. And if you have ever felt underestimated, know that you are not alone. Far ahead, the woman stopped walking. She gently placed one hand against the bark of an ancient tree. The forest answered. Every whisper fell completely silent. Silence spread through the whispering woods like ink across still water. Leaves stopped rustling. Nightbirds abandoned their songs. Even the insects disappeared into the ancient roots beneath the forest floor. Commander Garrick frowned. He had hunted inside these woods for years. He had never heard them become this quiet. "Keep moving," he ordered. "She cannot have gone far." The royal trackers answered with confident grins. 30 elite hunters, runed bows, silver daggers, wolves bred to track a single scent for miles, against one bruised Omega. The outcome seemed obvious. They entered the trees laughing. Nyra Evernight heard every footstep, not because their movements were loud, because the forest carried them to her. She rested one palm against the weathered trunk of an enormous black oak. Cold bark pulsed beneath her fingertips, almost like a heartbeat. The trees remembered her. They always had. Long before kingdoms drew borders, long before alphas claimed crowns, the whispering woods had belonged to something far older, something still sleeping beneath the tangled roots. Nyra closed her eyes. Darkness welcomed her. Not the darkness ordinary people feared, a living darkness, gentle, ancient, patient. It flowed around her ankles like cool mist before disappearing beneath the fallen leaves. She whispered softly, "I am home." The shadows answered. Branches bent almost imperceptibly. Vines shifted without wind. Hidden paths quietly opened where moments earlier there had been none. The forest did not obey commands. It recognized its sovereign. Far behind her, Garrick knelt beside a faint footprint pressed into damp earth. "There." He smiled. "She is frightened. She forgot to hide her tracks." One of his captains laughed. "An Omega always panics eventually." Another spun a silver knife across his fingers. "This will be over before sunrise." None of them noticed the footprint slowly fading. The earth itself reclaimed it. Within seconds, it had never existed. Nyra continued deeper into the woods. Her breathing remained slow, measured, controlled. She understood exactly how much time remained before the hunters reached her. She also understood something they never could. They believed they were following her trail. In truth, she was leading them. Every step drew them farther from familiar paths, farther from moonlight, farther from safety, toward the oldest heart of the cursed forest. Pain interrupted her concentration. A sharp ache spread behind her eyes. She stopped walking. The darkness clinging to her shadow thickened instinctively. Another pulse of pain followed. The edges of the world blurred, only slightly. She blinked once. The blur disappeared. For now, the hidden cost had begun collecting its price. Every time she merged with living shadows, the darkness borrowed a little more of her sight. It never took everything at once. It was far crueler than that. First came blurred edges, then faded colors, then faces became silhouettes. Eventually, only endless night remained. The elders had warned her as a child, "The forest will lend you its eyes. But one day, it will ask for yours." She had accepted the bargain. The Whispering Woods protected countless innocent lives. Someone had to remain its guardian. If blindness became the cost, she would pay it. Another branch creaked. Not naturally, deliberately. The forest was speaking again. 3 hunters approaching from the east, 2 climbing the ridge, 1 wolf circling behind. Nyra smiled faintly. They were exactly where she wanted them. She never reached for a weapon. She did not need one. Commander Garrick raised a clenched fist. The entire hunting party stopped. One of the tracking wolves whimpered unexpectedly. Its ears flattened, its tail tucked beneath its body. "What is wrong with it?" A handler frowned. "It smells something." "What?" The handler hesitated. "I do not know. It keeps looking." He slowly pointed toward the darkness between 2 ancient trees, at the shadows. Several hunters laughed. "It is afraid of the dark. So is every Omega." The jokes spread quickly, confident, careless. Garrick folded his arms. "I almost feel disappointed. They called these woods cursed. I expected something more entertaining." High above them, unseen among impossibly dense branches, Nyra watched every movement, not with ordinary sight, with the forest itself. Every tree became an eye. Every vine became a listening ear. Every patch of darkness carried information directly into her awareness. The Whispering Woods had never belonged to intruders. It had only tolerated them. Tonight, its patience was ending. A familiar pressure gathered behind Nyra's eyes again, this time stronger. The bark beneath her fingertips blurred. She inhaled carefully. No. Not yet. She could not afford to lose more vision before the hunt truly began. She relaxed her connection to the shadows. The pain eased slightly. Enough. Always just enough. If you have ever hidden your own pain because you believed others needed you to stay strong, then you may understand Nyra better than anyone around her does. Quiet burdens often weigh the most. If her resilience speaks to you, a simple like helps stories like this reach people who may need that reminder today. Far away, another presence entered the forest. Nyra felt it immediately. Warm, steady, silver, unlike the hunters, unlike the shadows. Moonlight. She frowned. Impossible. No moonlight reached the Whispering Woods. Yet something carried its unmistakable warmth through the ancient trees. It stirred something deep inside her soul. Not fear. Recognition. The feeling disappeared before she could understand it. Commander Garrick drew his bow. "We split here. Circle north. Drive her toward the ravine." The hunters obeyed. Perfect formation. Perfect discipline. Exactly as she expected. Exactly as the forest had predicted. Hidden beneath the oldest roots of the whispering woods, something ancient responded with a slow, almost imperceptible pulse. Long before the first Alpha Kingdom existed, legends spoke of the first Shadow Sovereign, who had sealed an ancient abyss beneath the world root with blood, sacrifice, and living darkness. Most believed the story had become myth. Nyra never questioned it. Her family had guarded that forgotten seal for generations. Tonight, as the hunters marched deeper into forbidden ground, the ancient prison beneath the forest stirred, not because enemies had entered, because its queen had returned. The second hunting horn never sounded. It did not need to. The whispering woods had already announced that the hunt had changed. Alpha King Lucian landed soundlessly on a massive branch overlooking the eastern ravine. His silver cloak blended into the darkness. Only his eyes reflected the faint glow hidden somewhere beyond the endless canopy. He inhaled. Fresh earth. Ancient bark. Wet moss. Then, her. The scent struck him with overwhelming force. Night-blooming jasmine. Rain on cold stone. And beneath it, an impossible fragrance that no ordinary werewolf should ever carry. Living darkness. His wolf froze. Not from fear, from reverence. Mate. The word exploded through every instinct inside him. The invisible bond, quiet for years, awakened all at once. His pulse thundered. His muscles tightened. Every nerve demanded the same thing. Find her. Protect her. Bring her home. He pushed forward through the branches, then stopped. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Every tale about frightened omegas described trembling heartbeats, erratic breathing, the sharp scent of panic. Lucian sensed none of it. He closed his eyes. The mate bond widened. Emotion crossed it like a whisper. Stillness. Perfect, disciplined stillness. No desperation. No hope that someone would rescue her. Only patient focus. His wolf growled softly. Predator, not prey. The realization settled over him with startling clarity. His mate was not hiding. She was waiting. Below, Commander Garrick raised one hand. The trackers spread into a flawless hunting formation. She cannot disappear. His confident voice echoed through the trees. Every creature leaves a trail. A young tracker nodded eagerly. We have her surrounded. Another laughed. Poor little Omega. She probably thinks these trees can save her. Lucian remained motionless. They were making a mistake. The forest did not feel empty. It felt occupied. He had walked battlefields filled with thousands of soldiers. He had crossed cursed valleys where ancient spirits lingered. Nothing had ever watched him the way these woods did. Every shadow seemed awake. Every branch appeared aware. The silence itself carried intention. A nearby owl refused to fly. Instead, it turned its head toward the darkness and bowed. Lucian's heartbeat slowed. Animals did not honor predators. They honored rulers. Far ahead, Nyra stood beneath the towering world root. Its enormous trunk disappeared into absolute darkness above. Ancient roots twisted around the earth like sleeping serpents. She rested both hands against the weathered bark. The forest breathed through her. She felt every hunter, every heartbeat, every weapon, every careless whisper. She also felt something else. Warmth. Silver light. Gentle. Steady. It drifted through the forest like moonlight, finding its way beneath impossible shadows. The sensation reached her heart before her mind understood it. The hidden bond responded. A quiet ache spread across her chest. Not painful. Longing. She frowned. Who was he? Why did his presence feel safe? Another pulse of pain interrupted the thought. Darkness answered immediately. Her vision blurred again. The bark beneath her fingertips became indistinct. She blinked twice. Shapes sharpened. Barely. The hidden cost continued its slow advance. Every moment she remained connected to the living shadows demanded another piece of her sight. She accepted the bargain. She simply wished it did not hurt so much. High above, Lucian's wolf became restless. He felt it, not through scent, through the mate bond. Pain, deep, relentless. Someone was suffering quietly. His expression hardened. Whoever had done this to her, whoever had forced her to carry such a burden, would answer for it. He prepared to leap toward the clearing. Then, a silent message flowed across the bond. Stop. His body froze. He had heard no voice, yet the meaning reached him with perfect clarity. Trust me. Lucian had commanded armies. Entire kingdoms obeyed his words without hesitation. No one had ever asked him to stop at the edge of a battlefield. Yet, he listened. Not because he lacked strength, because every instinct insisted she understood this place far better than he ever could. Commander Garrick knelt beside another footprint. He smiled triumphantly. There. We are closing in. One of his captains frowned. Something feels wrong. What? The forest. It has become... He searched for the word. Too quiet. Garrick scoffed. You are letting old stories frighten you. There are no ghosts. There are no forest queens. There is only one exhausted Omega. The words echoed farther than he intended. The trees answered. A single leaf drifted downward, then another, then hundreds, not blown by wind, released together. The trackers looked upward. Nothing moved. Yet leaves continued falling until the forest floor disappeared beneath black and silver. Lucian watched carefully. This was not weather. It was communication. The woods were signaling. The hunt had reached its final stage. The youngest tracker swallowed hard. Commander, I cannot hear the wolves anymore. Garrick looked around. The tracking beasts had vanished. No broken leashes, no growls, no panic. They had simply left. Every instinct born in the wild had chosen survival over obedience. Only humans remained. That frightened Lucian more than any roar could have. Nyra slowly opened her eyes. Dark violet light shimmered beneath them for the briefest moment. She could feel Garrick drawing closer. 3 heartbeats away to 1. She gently flexed her fingers. The shadows around her feet rippled once, then became still again. She whispered into the darkness. It is time. Have you ever sensed that quiet certainty before a turning point in your own life? When everything suddenly becomes clear and there is no reason to run anymore? Those moments often reveal who we truly are. If this chapter has you holding your breath, consider leaving a like and telling us the exact moment you realized Nyra was never the hunted one. Far beneath the roots of the ancient forest, something enormous stirred. The seal left by the first shadow sovereign pulsed once beneath the world root. Ancient darkness recognized ancient blood. And standing silently among the branches, Alpha King Lucian finally understood the terrifying truth. He had entered the Whispering Woods to rescue a helpless Omega. Instead, he was about to witness the Queen of the Forest begin her hunt. Commander Garrick raised his fist. Hold formation. 30 royal trackers spread through the clearing in disciplined silence. Runed bows lifted. Silver blades caught what little light slipped through the ancient canopy. Every escape route disappeared beneath steel. Garrick smiled. We have you now. No answer came. Only darkness. One tracker laughed nervously. I cannot even see her. She is hiding. Another tightened his grip on his bow. Come out, little Omega. You cannot disappear forever. A whisper drifted through the trees. I already have. The words came from nowhere. Every hunter turned. Nothing. Another whisper. Behind them. You entered my home. The formation spun again. Still nothing. Several men swallowed hard. Their confident breathing became shallow. Commander Garrick forced a laugh. Cheap tricks. Search every shadow. The order had barely left his mouth when the first torch died. No wind, no rain. Its flame simply folded into darkness. Then another. 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 Within seconds. The clearing belonged to the night. Absolute darkness surrounded the trackers. Not ordinary darkness. Living darkness. It moved. It breathed. It watched. A young hunter drew a shaking breath. I cannot see my own hands. Someone reached for another torch. The fire ignited. For half a heartbeat. Then black tendrils silently wrapped around the flame. The light vanished without smoke, without heat, without a sound. Panic spread through the formation. What is happening? Where is she? A scream shattered the silence. Not pain. Shock. One hunter stumbled backward. His silver sword had disappeared. He stared at his empty hand. I never let go. The weapon rested 20 feet away against an old tree, perfectly untouched. Another scream answered. A bowstring snapped, not broken, untied. The rune-etched bow fell harmlessly to the ground. A third tracker reached for his dagger. His belt had already been unclasped. The weapon lay neatly beside his boots. Nobody had seen anyone move. High above the clearing, Alpha King Lucian watched from a massive branch. Even his heightened senses struggled to follow her. His silver eyes searched desperately through the darkness. Nothing. Then, a ripple. Not through the air, through the shadows themselves. They were carrying her. No, they were becoming her. His wolf fell completely silent. Ancient instinct recognized something his mind could barely comprehend. The forest was not protecting Nyra. The forest was obeying her. Commander Garrick roared, "Close ranks!" The remaining trackers obeyed immediately, shoulder to shoulder, blades outward. Perfect military discipline. For one heartbeat, nothing happened. Hope flickered across Garrick's face. "We stopped her." A soft voice answered. "No." It came from inside the circle. Every hunter froze. Impossible. No one had crossed their formation. Slowly, very slowly, a human silhouette rose from the shadow beneath Garrick's own feet. Nyra emerged without making a sound. Her black hair flowed like liquid night. Her abyssal eyes glowed with faint violet light. Her expression remained impossibly calm. No hatred, no rage, only quiet certainty. Several trackers instinctively stepped backward. One collapsed onto his knees. His lips trembled. The stories, they were true. Nyra looked around the circle. "You chased prey." She took one slow step. The darkness moved with her. "But the forest never called me prey." The ground answered. Black shadows spread across roots and fallen leaves, not attacking, guiding. Every tracker suddenly lost all sense of direction. North vanished. South disappeared. Even the nearest trees seemed to shift places. The whispering woods quietly rewrote its own paths. Garrick swung his silver blade. A clean, powerful strike. Nyra dissolved into shadow before the steel reached her. The blade cut empty air. She reappeared behind him. One gentle touch landed against the flat of his weapon. The silver shattered into harmless fragments. Tiny pieces scattered across the moss like frozen rain. His hand remained unharmed. Only the weapon was gone. He stared in disbelief. "How?" Another tracker charged. Nyra stepped sideways. Barely. His momentum carried him harmlessly into thick vines that instantly wrapped around his arms before relaxing again. No injury, only complete defeat. A third hunter fired 3 enchanted arrows. The shadows caught them. Not dramatically, almost politely. The arrows slowed, stopped, then drifted to the forest floor as though placed there by invisible hands. No counterattack followed. Only silence. Lucian's heartbeat accelerated. She possessed overwhelming power, yet every movement carried astonishing restraint. She could have destroyed them. Instead, she dismantled every threat without unnecessary cruelty. His respect deepened with every passing second. Commander Garrick backed away. His breathing became ragged. This cannot exist." Nyra's gaze met his. "You believed darkness belonged to fear." Another slow step. "It belongs to balance." He stumbled over an ancient root. For the first time in decades, The commander of the royal trackers looked genuinely terrified. The arrogant certainty vanished from his face. His pupils widened. Sweat rolled down his temples. His hands shook uncontrollably. He finally understood. They had never cornered a helpless Omega. They had willingly walked into the throne room of the Whispering Woods. That realization shattered him. The remaining trackers slowly lowered their weapons, one after another. Steel touched earth, not because someone ordered them, because survival finally overcame pride. Nyra closed her eyes briefly. The darkness obeying her surged once more. Pain followed instantly. A sharp ache pierced both eyes. The forest blurred. Tree trunks became shifting silhouettes. The faces before her faded into indistinct shapes. The hidden cost had arrived. Again. She remained perfectly still. No one noticed the tiny tremor in her hand. No one heard the quiet catch in her breathing. Except one. Lucian felt the pain through the mate bond. It struck like a blade driven gently into his own vision. His sight blurred for the briefest instant, then cleared. His heart tightened. She was losing her eyesight. Every moment she protected the forest. The forest claimed another piece of her vision. She had carried this burden alone for far too long. If you have ever known someone who looked unshakable while quietly paying a price no one else could see, you know how powerful this moment truly is. Strength often hides its deepest sacrifices behind calm eyes. If Nyra's courage has stayed with you, leave a like and tell us the exact moment you realized mercy, not fear, was her greatest strength. Garrick slowly dropped to both knees. His voice barely escaped. I surrender. Nyra looked toward him. Though her vision had already begun to fade, her compassion had not. You may leave. The commander blinked. You are letting us go? You entered these woods believing power meant domination. She turned away. Leave understanding something greater. No tracker spoke. One by one, they retreated into the darkness. Not chased, not humiliated. Changed. Only when the last footstep disappeared did Nyra sway. The living shadows around her flickered. The world before her dimmed another shade. Far above, Alpha King Lucian leaped from the branches, not to stop the queen of the forest, but because he finally understood. The greatest battle she had fought tonight had never been against the hunters. It had been against the darkness slowly stealing her sight. The last tracker disappeared between the ancient trees. Silence returned to the Whispering Woods. Not the tense silence of a hunt. A peaceful one. The forest had accepted the outcome. Nyra stood alone beneath the towering world root. For one fragile moment, then her knees weakened. The living shadows around her wavered like exhausted waves retreating from a shore. She reached for the nearest tree. Her fingertips found rough bark. Her eyes did not. The ancient trunk had become little more than a blurred outline. She blinked. Once, twice, the darkness remained. Not outside. Inside. The hidden cost had claimed another piece of her sight. She inhaled carefully. The familiar ache spread behind both eyes. Colors dulled. Edges dissolved. Every victory demanded another sacrifice. She had always known the bargain. Knowing did not make it easier. A quiet footstep approached. Unlike the hunters, unlike frightened prey. Steady, calm, confident. She recognized the warmth before the sound. Moonlight. Not the light falling from the heavens, the light carried by a single soul. Alpha King Lucian stopped several feet away. He did not rush toward her. He noticed the way her body remained perfectly balanced despite the pain. A warrior who had survived countless battles deserved respect before comfort. "You knew I was here." His voice remained gentle. "I knew." She answered without opening her eyes. "You stayed hidden. You asked me to." A faint smile appeared. "So you listened. I trusted you." Those words lingered between them. Simple, honest, powerful. Nyra slowly opened her eyes. The world before her remained blurred. Lucian's face appeared only as a tall figure surrounded by silver light. She could not distinguish his expression, only his presence. "I am sorry." The words surprised even her. He frowned. "For what?" "You came to rescue someone." A quiet breath escaped. "You found someone already breaking?" Lucian shook his head. "No. I found someone carrying far more than anyone should." Another wave of dizziness swept through her. The forest shifted. Darkness gathered instinctively around her feet, trying to protect her, trying to become her eyes. The effort only worsened the curse. She staggered. Lucian crossed the remaining distance just as her balance gave way. He caught her gently, never tightening his grip, never making it feel like restraint, only support. Nyra instinctively stiffened. Years of survival had taught her that kindness often came with hidden conditions. Lucian sensed the hesitation immediately. "You do not have to trust me today." He spoke softly. "Just do not fall alone." Those words reached somewhere her defenses could not. The living shadows surrounding her quieted. The forest itself seemed to relax. Far overhead, tiny shafts of moonlight pierced the dense canopy for the first time in generations. Commander Garrick, watching from the distant tree line before leaving forever, stopped in disbelief. "The moon," a wounded tracker whispered beside him. "It has never reached the world route." Tonight, it did. Lucian looked into Nyra's fading eyes. "I can feel it. The darkness is taking your sight." She gave a tiny nod. "It always does." "How long?" "A little more each time. And one day," she finished the sentence quietly, "I will only remember what light looked like." The words settled heavily in the still forest. Lucian felt the pain through the mate bond. Not physical pain. Loneliness. The quiet loneliness of someone preparing for a future where every sunrise would exist only in memory. His heart tightened. "No." She tilted her head slightly. "No. You are not facing that future alone." Nyra almost laughed. "You barely know me. I know enough." "What do you know?" He answered without hesitation. "I know you spared those who hunted you. I know you protected this forest even while it cost you your own vision. I know your strength has never come from your power." He smiled warmly. It comes from your mercy." The words broke something she had carefully protected for years. Not her composure, her isolation. A single tear slipped quietly down her cheek. She had endured pain, hunger, betrayal, blindness. Yet genuine understanding felt almost overwhelming. Lucian slowly lifted one hand. "May I?" She knew what he meant. Not touching her face, her soul. She nodded. His palm rested lightly over her eyes. The royal alpha radiance awakened. Soft silver light flowed between his fingers. Not blinding. Gentle, like moonlight reflected across a calm lake. The mate bond ignited completely. Silver radiance met living darkness. Neither tried to erase the other. Instead, the light wrapped around the shadows. The shadows welcomed the light. Balance. Not victory. Lucian drew a sudden breath. The curse reached him instantly. His own vision blurred. The forest lost focus. Darkness touched the edge of his sight before the radiance stabilized it. He understood. She had carried this burden every single day. Alone. His breathing became heavier still. He never withdrew his hand. Nyra felt warmth spreading through the darkness behind her eyes. The crushing pressure eased, not disappearing, sharing. Shapes slowly sharpened. The outline of Lucian's face became clearer, then his silver eyes, then the quiet smile she had never truly seen before. She stared at him. "I can see you." His smile deepened. "And I can finally see you. Not the sovereign, not the legend. Simply, her. If someone has ever stood beside you without asking you to become someone different first, then you understand why this moment matters. The greatest healing often begins when we are accepted exactly as we are. If this chapter touched your heart, leave a like and share who has been that steady light in your own life. The ancient world root trembled softly. Deep beneath its endless roots, the forgotten seal left by the first shadow sovereign pulsed with quiet approval. Darkness and light had finally found balance again. Far beyond the sleeping forest, something imprisoned beneath the earth slowly opened ancient eyes. Not in anger, in recognition. Its final guardians were no longer standing alone. Morning arrived without fanfare. Soft rays of sunlight slipped through the whispering woods for the first time in living memory, painting the ancient trees with ribbons of gold instead of endless shadow. The forest did not resist. It welcomed the light. Nyra stood beneath the towering world root, her vision steady once more. The darkness still lived within her. It always would. But it no longer felt like a lonely prison. It had become something else. A responsibility shared. Alpha King Lucian stepped beside her. Neither reached for a crown. Neither needed one. Some rulers were recognized long before they were ever officially named. Below the ancient canopy, the surviving royal trackers returned one final time. Not with weapons. With respect. Commander Garrick walked to the center of the clearing and lowered both knees to the earth. His sword remained sheathed. "I entered these woods, believing power belonged to whoever inspired the greatest fear." He lowered his head. I leave understanding that true power belongs to those who choose mercy, even when vengeance would be easier. One by one, every tracker followed. The forest remained silent. Its acceptance was answer enough. Lucian looked toward the gathering. His voice carried calmly beneath the trees. Light without humility becomes arrogance. He turned toward Nyra. And darkness without compassion becomes despair. Their eyes met. Together, he said, they become hope. Nyra smiled gently. The forest never needed a conqueror. It only needed someone willing to listen. A warm breeze moved through the branches. Leaves shimmered overhead. For the first time in centuries, patches of sunlight and shadow rested together across the same forest floor. Neither erased the other. Both belonged. Far beneath the world root, the ancient seal glowed faintly. A narrow crack of violet light pulsed once before fading into silence. Neither Lucian nor Nyra spoke. They understood. This victory was an ending. It was also a beginning. Another ancient darkness would one day awaken. When it did, the guardian of shadow would not face it alone. Perhaps that is the lesson every heart needs from time to time. Many people spend their lives believing they must hide their struggles to protect everyone else. Yet the strongest souls are not those who carry every burden alone. They are the ones brave enough to accept trustworthy hands when life becomes too heavy. Light does not exist to destroy darkness. Darkness does not exist to swallow light. Each teaches the other balance. Each reminds the other that neither was ever meant to stand alone. If today's story has spoken to your heart, I hope you remember that even your quietest battles matter. May peace fill your home. May good health walk beside you each day. May your family be surrounded by kindness, strength, and hope through every season of life. And whenever your own path feels dark, may you always find someone willing to walk beside you until the light returns. Before we part, I would love to hear what you think. When the ancient force beneath the world root finally awakens, should Nyra and Lucian face it together? Or should Nyra confront the legacy of the Shadow Sovereigns on her own? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey, please like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another unforgettable werewolf romance adventure filled with powerful heroines, alpha kings, and extraordinary stories of courage, destiny, and hope. Until next time, may your heart always find the courage to choose both strength and compassion.